I don't know why it does have to happen every time before meeting.
Não, não, mas Deus é unfair. Se ninguém come bem,
So scanning defeats the purpose because we're all dear Mosikare in a group. Oh, there's a social distancing. Tio. Tio. Sorry, my boss. Hey, I hope I'm not good. Andre, I need you to hold this recording live.
Dat link wel skinny leyo. Good house. All right.
Marag.
En laat je goed tussen zee, man.
It's live, bro.
Ah, je moet net doen dan.
Yeah, get them. She says one of them too.
Yeah, that's a response. Means absolutely nothing. Who had it?
Where's my memorandum of demand that's number? I need those that is numbers.
Didn't bring mine with. So, do you have the first memorandum? The first one. The demands that we handed over to Sulphite. Not that one, another one, the original one.
No, the other one that you, yeah. Tumelo. Mr. Tumelo. This one is marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
It's the one that you used the other
Yes.
day.
Yes, this is the one that you used.
Next to him. So when we fire not on the axis, we must know where the fireworks is coming. I'm ready. Sorry, Peppo. I know you wanted me next to you.
Yeah, they won't be giving you face now.
says at 18, you are requesting that you must complete.
They say the meeting will start in the next 2 minutes, which we are already 20 minutes late. We're supposed to start at 5 already. Van waar op is hij? Wat is uw naam?
Nadia. Nadia. It's working.
Today is also a historical moment.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. The community is in the chambers.
Good afternoon, colleagues, comrades, friends, and colleagues. Good afternoon. And this thing is off. Good afternoon, comrades, friends, and colleagues. And let me then take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this second engagement. I think when we departed on Monday, we adjourned our first engagements on Monday. We agreed that we are going to have these follow-up engagements where there will be some substantive and elaborative response to some of the grievances which were submitted last week, Thursday. And I think we've got two categories of grievances. The first require 24-hour response, and the second category required 7-day response. And when we met Monday, then there was some preliminary response to both the 24-hour and the 7-day return time. And so we are here now to get much more substantive and elaborate response to some of the issues that were raised. And I think that our attitude is just simple, is that there's no silver bullet to resolve these challenges, and that there is no 1 day or 2 days engagements to resolve these issues. But rather it's an iterative process. It's a back and forth process. Going back, looking at how best to do it, coming back, and arguing, no, we can move here, and going back again, looking at how best to do it, and coming back. It's basically an iterative process where we'll have to continue to engage each other and to try to find the best solution to all these major challenges that we are confronted with. I think I just have to say the theme that I have here, we've got the MEC of Foxstar who struggled to connect, and we had a by-election deep in Namakwa, and we just arrived from that by-election, driving more than 1,000. So that's the reason why I struggled to connect, because of poor connection which was there. And we are happy to announce that we've won that by-election. For those who have not received the results as yet. The Gani Kopskati is a reality inside the Fabian. And the other MEC that is with us here is MEC Foslo and MEC for Finance, Economic Development, and Tourism. And we also have the Executive Mayor, and next to the Executive Mayor we've got the Chief Advisor, Senior Advisor in the Premier's Office. And, I don't see MEC between MEC of Health, and we've got the DG, and we've got some of the management of Sokwati municipality and senior management of the provincial government who have also joined us in this engagement. So we agreed when we met on Monday that today we are going to get some elaborative response. I think that task was given to the mayor together with his team, and I see they've prepared something. And what I would just do is to give over then to the mayor just to take us through the responses And then thereafter we can open up for some form of engagements and the way forward. Mayor,
Okay.
and where the acting and the acting and oh, this is not a council meeting. I see you are sitting there. Okay. Okay. MEC of Public Works forwarded an apology. She won't be here, and she was working at the by-elections that were in John Taudo Heights, and she actually get exposed to somebody who's got COVID. So she's in quarantine. She can't be part and parcel of the situation. So she's quarantined. And Mayor?
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much, Premier.
Yes, please.
All the members. Okay.
Thank you. I'm not sure whether the mic is audible from my side or whether everybody can hear me. Just to reintroduce myself again, I'm David Koch from the United Kimberley Soplaiki community. Premier Sir, with all due respect, and the members that is attending here from the Premier's cabinet, so to speak. Monday's engagement was to get a response from the mayor, and the mayor issued us with a draft. So from our side, as the USPM community, we are rejecting the draft and whatever he has prepared for today. We made it clear in the meeting on Monday that today's engagement is for your oversight and your response, not from the mayor. So we are rejecting any document whatsoever coming from the mayor's office, as it is clear in our demands, in our memorandum, that when we do not accept the response from the mayor, it means we do not accept the mayor, his mayoral committee, and whoever falls under him to be continued as administrators within the Soplaiki municipality. Thank you.
Then we've got different understanding of today's meeting. And I think then we have to try and sort that out. And I was chairing the meeting. When we left the meeting, we instructed the mayor to go and prepare a substantive response to the grievances. And there was first a discussion on whether she should present those responses or not. And then when the mayor presented them, he said these are draft responses. And I was of the view that we should not allow him to present that, to go and open it because we've not even seen it. That was what we agreed. That was the argument which was raised. So there was a broader view in a meeting that he must present pending this meeting today. That was what we agreed on. And I'm here informed by what we agreed on in our last meeting. Maybe we'll have to develop an approach of having somebody that takes minutes and get the minutes of the meeting read to all of us and agree on what is in the minutes. Because we can't be convening meetings and forget what we agreed on. And when we have to start a meeting, we have to debate about what we agreed on in the last meeting. It won't take us anywhere. But what we agreed that the mayor presented what he presented in the last meeting against my proposal with a proviso and an understanding that today we'll come here and get a substantive response on all the grievances that have been raised. And I even put a rider there, and I said, as part and parcel of the response, we are also going to add an explanation on the 500 million rand urgent infrastructure injection for South Line. That's what I said when we were closing the meeting. So I don't know which meeting we were part of, which says the media should not come and give responses. But that's what we agreed. We left, we did not even discuss that report which was presented by the mayor. So that's my understanding by way.
May I respond, sir?
No, it's fine, David. Let's get Mosikare.
Good evening. My name is Tumelo Mosikare from the Soplaki Community Forum. I've briefly scanned through this thickish document, and I agree with what David has said, because when we attended the meeting on Monday, Chairperson, you were the chairperson, and it was raised on Monday that there's a challenge of that the chairperson is not neutral in Monday's meeting. It comes across again today. I apologize for putting it straight. It comes across again today that the conclusion that you've made now about Monday's meeting is biased towards favoring that the municipality should give a response. What I've seen here, scanning through it, it's a thickish document, but it's the same. It's actually the same draft document.
No.
Chairperson, can you protect me from yourself?
No, I'm trying to assist you. The municipality came with a report to present here.
Which they later said was a draft.
Yes. No, I'm talking about this meeting. Now you scan through the report. You come with your own conclusion. Allow us to get presentation on the report, so that by the time we discuss conclusions about the report, all of us we're on the same page. So you can't get into a meeting, you get a report, you scan through the report. And we've not done it. We must first get a report, so that we're on the same page to discuss the same thing. That's what I want to ask you not to do. Don't tell us about your conclusion on what you've scanned. Let's get a report, we go through it, item by item, grievance by grievance, and then thereafter we can come to a conclusion about the report.
Understood, Chair.
Yeah.
Understood, Chairperson. Here's the challenge with what you're presenting and going forward. We have the document in front of us. Like I said, the mayor is going to present similar, which you're rightfully saying I cannot scan through it. And what happened on Monday was that it was said, as a chairperson, you said we will have a meeting on Thursday. Do you agree on Thursday? You initially said Monday, and we rejected Monday because it's past the 7 days. Today is the end of the 7 days. We are getting a document that is thick, that is extensive, that the mayor has to read through. Are we saying that should we allow that we go through the similar document as the people were supposed to get a response, that we will not extend it further than today? Because it seems as if it's a tactic to buy time, to say we are doing this, we did this. Because the document actually has similar points as in the previous document. Now, as a chairperson, please allow, when you allow us to engage, let it be in such a way that you do not pick the side of government, that you are neutral towards the community and the municipality. When you have to defend the municipality, defend the municipality when they are on the podium. When we have to defend us, defend us. It comes across as if already you have taken the stance that you are supporting what the municipality wants to do, and you do not want to take what we are saying.
Yes, no, you said, you are creating problems for this meeting. And you start the meeting by casting aspersions on me that I'm not fair in handling this meeting. And I would say it right now, right here. I can stop chairing this meeting and give it over to you to chair it. That's what I'm prepared to do. Stop chairing this meeting.
You may allow me to.
No. We need to address the issue of us starting the meeting by casting aspersions
I
on
understand. I want
each other.
it to be clear.
And then I want him to give me one instance where I took the side of government.
I want it to be clear, sir. Hence, I ask for interjection. Allow me.
Okay.
Allow me this. And I'm not going to apologize on behalf of my colleague. And I'm not going to be apologetic on behalf of the community we are standing here for. I want to make it straight, sir. When I opened and I asked for you before the mayor present, I was very much clear, and I am of a firm belief that we all understood what I was saying. I will reiterate it again. And it can be someone can even go back on the record. And I'm challenging that to the community as well as to your office. On the record, I stated personally when I was making this introduction to the community at large. I said, we cannot respond on something, hence we have not taken mandate from our communities, meaning taking feedback to them and hear what their response is and bring it back to this meeting. Hence I responded to say, the community dismally rejected it and we move on what is on our mandate. So we cannot allow the mayor to take platform here again and brief us on what they have prepared. It means he does not take us serious. For how long is our memorandum outstanding? And we must still allow him a platform. We're taking this position in Premier, that we discussed on Monday that you are going to do an oversight on this and we're going to hold you responsible for it. Hence we are here for your response. And it does not change the scope of the meeting. Thank you.
I think we are then moving from two different premises. If you said on Monday, you are holding me responsible for supply and your grievances towards supply, I was going to tell you something on Monday. That in the Northern Cape, there's 31 municipalities. And the provincial, each of those municipalities have government and management. And our responsibility is oversight and support. Provincial government can run supply. We can run supply. Supply has got its own councillors, it's got its own administration, it's got its own government. We are not in a position to run any of the 31 municipalities in the country. So our responsibility is to support. If there's grievances here around supply and water and sewer and all of that, those things, even if you go and read the law, before squarely within the authority of supply, not the provincial government. So we've got 31 municipalities in the Northern Cape and our responsibility is to render support to all 31 municipalities. That is the reason I'm sitting here, render support to supply. But here you've got a mayor, you've got members of the mayoral committee, you've got administration, whose responsibility is to run this municipality and respond to the service delivery challenges which are there. So they must do it. They must do it. There is no point where we say you can't respond. They must do it. They must. Doesn't matter what kind of challenges that we are sitting with, they must do the work. That's what they are supposed to do. And in executing that task, then it becomes the responsibility of the provincial government to come in and assist them. But I can't become all of a sudden a mayor because of like this feeling to execute its duties. So Party will always remain to have its mayor and the MM, which is more or less the same as me and the DG in the provincial government. If they fail, our responsibility is only to move in, give them the necessary support to be able to address those areas of weaknesses. And that is what basically the Constitution refers to as cooperative governance.
Sir, I want to not go back, and this is not what we want. We want to go forward. Okay. Everything is escalating to the next level, moving, going up. And you said it so much in your full words since you have started after my previous engagement before this one, as I'm speaking. You said it yourself. They have failed, and for you as the oversight, we need response from you. Not to say become the mayor, be the premier, and tell us now what are we facing as a Oplaki community at large? This is where we are going. Because I made it also clear, and I can really go back and refresh my mind again and say the words that I've said. That we are going to hold the premier responsible for the failures that is happening in our municipality, and we are going to upscale it for the president to come and intervene here from national office. That came from us. Hence, I'm saying it's escalating from this one to the next one. Now, when you respond now in this nature, from our side, we don't want the mayor to respond. We have found the mayor and the rest of his cabinet as incompetent to deal with our issues. As you are responsible for 33 municipalities to have oversight, this one becomes your main burden. Hence, Kimberley is being identified as the pinnacle of the Northern Cape, as the Diamond City. And look how it looks like now. Your community is not happy. And I don't want you to reject this one and play the game the other way around. Let's play open cards. That is why we call for transparency. The community is viewing in, they are listening, they are watching how we're engaging on this one. And we don't want to disappoint them. I know you don't want to disappoint them, but we came here to hear your outcry on how things should have been done. Hence we say, today's meeting, we're not even going to consider them to engage, because we've engaged with them on ample platforms and no satisfaction. So where must we go to? We have run now from the kids, we are going to the father figure now. Where to from there? Where to? You must tell us. Hence we are calling for your response in this regard, so that we must know what is the next step. And I said it so nicely on Monday. Sometimes it's difficult as a leader to find the right platform to be a gentleman and to discuss issues like this. But when it is burning like this, and you are hands-on, you need to take the bull by the horns and turn it in a robust manner. And I asked, I said, we don't want you to feel as if we're undermining your office. But should it be that it is found that there's incompetency within these structures that we're engaging to solve our problems, we will go to the next level. So that is where we are now. Hence, we are calling for this, that the mayor should not get platform here. It's not for the mayor. Yes, it is in his chambers, but it's not for him. We found him already incompetent, according to our mandate. So now we're here to hear from your response, sir. What is your overview? What is your oversight on this? Thank you.
Let me say I'm getting more confused. The more you speak, the more confused I get. You come to our offices last week Thursday. You submit grievances. In those grievances, we've got two sets of grievances: 24-hour response and 7-day response. And those grievances are about soil blight. And you say, as you are handing over these grievances to you, that Soplaki must respond within 7 days. We are still within the 7 days period, and you tell me that you don't want Soplaki to respond to those grievances. That's what you are telling me. And when we met on Monday, the reason why we called this meeting for today, it's simply because we wanted to be still within the 7 days on which Soplaki is expected to respond. And now, when Soplaki is here, ready to respond, Soplaki is told, no, we don't want a response. We want the Premier to respond. Honestly speaking, what can the Premier respond on the challenges of human resource in Soplaki?
Premier?
Yes.
If I may, sir, this is exactly the point I was making earlier.
Yeah.
You asked when were you biased, or when, in which instance were you picking sides and picking the side of government? I've just noted 2 of the instances, and this one is the third actually. The first instance, when Mr. Dudroyo, the acting municipal manager, responded and said about the water, the leaks and whatnot, and we gave our view or our input, the information that we received about the water. You basically said, we are not engineers here, he should answer. He's not an engineer. You pick this side and he's not an engineer.
Who's not an
Mr. Dudloy is not an engineer in the water section. He's not an engineer. Second instance is that the people who are affected by this memorandum that we've handed to your office and the office of the mayor are the ones that are responding. They have never taken these demands to council. The councillors of all the wards are probably in the dark about what's happening right now. They are affected and are defending themselves. There's no neutral body like Mr. Fass, who's the Cockstar MEC, who's supposed to have oversight over the municipality, to say, Mayor, they say you must go. How do you respond? He will respond on Khan Nerens. The mayoral committee will respond on Khan Nerens. Mr. Dudloy, being here, you will respond, he's not going anywhere. And being the chairperson of the meeting, you basically allowed for this to happen. The response that they are giving right now and that they have blown up into this document is basically the same. We're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. And I'm not preempting what the mayor is going to say. I'm just pointing out the fact that we came to your office and with the mayor there to say, we understand that the mayor is not doing his work. You live here, you see it as well, and you've said it again today. We understand he's not doing his work, and his mayoral committee, and the people below them or that they instruct. We need your assistance as the premier, which is above the MEC. We should have probably gone to the MEC's office, but above, and you responded by accepting the demands, saying probably your office will do something. You've convened this meeting. The first meeting showed us there was no seriousness from the side of the municipality, meaning that from the response that they gave us initially and calling it the draft when they were cornered, and the mayor even saying Baritswere, they got us, you could have seen by then there was no seriousness. We are not being taken serious. And we come back here on Thursday, the 7 days after, or on the 7th day, where action was supposed to be taken and none was taken. The response looks the same again. That there's no action. The demands in here were asking for action. The responses that we are getting, and it comes across as the chairperson protecting them. The responses that we are getting basically is that nothing will happen, just go through this document, read this. As the chairperson, we have said, or rather, we've gone to your office to say, intervene, assist us in dealing with this. If you give us the same people to respond to the demands that are here, it means basically you are saying you have confidence in them. They can honestly say, yes, we have failed. I, as the mayoral committee member of infrastructure, have failed in my role of oversight. I, as the mayor, have failed in my role of oversight over the mayoral committee or the directors and whatnot. It hasn't happened. The councillors were never in those chambers to discuss this. They are the affected parties. They are responding. You, as a chairperson, are allowing it to go through. This is the discrepancy I'm talking about.
So it was a well dialogue between the two of you. This meeting will never go forward.
Yeah.
It was my experience. And the two gentlemen there, the one is speaking anytime when they want. Just press the mic, exigency, point the forum. There's a meeting of the whole attendees. I think I start to open up to the others. My name is Mark, the MC for Chair. Initially, I wanted to speak, and you noticed me, but they chipped in there. You are right. I will appeal to Mr. Mosikare. Number one, don't cast aspersions on anyone, on government or the municipality for now. Number two, you are preempting discussions, which is a very bad way to start the meeting. If you're a good listener, you would have allowed anyone to present the report. After that report, then you pinpoint or then tell us that you see what I told you. Last week you said this thing, this week again the same thing. And then there's a clash in there. But you've already preempted and pigeonholed the whole report which is in front of us. And number two, we need to assess you. We are government, unfortunately. Government is in spheres of government. There's national government, there's provincial, there's local government. And that's what we call intergovernmental relations. And we, as a custodians of the province, We cannot undermine our own legislation to undermine municipalities or local government. It will be run apart. It means that we'll be confused here. We will know the rule. The Premier is correct. Yes, there's still mayor here, there's still councillors, they have the city fund, they've been elected as well. But the very same people you are representing, the same people elected them, they are still legitimate. They are leaders of the municipality. What we must do to have a decent meeting, I'll appeal to you, leadership. We must have a decent meeting. What we must do in terms of process, let's allow the report, and you become good listeners, and then we critique and flag the issues we're raising. And then after that report, we can then chart the way forward. And then my last point here. Let's also allow the meeting to flow. Let's allow the meeting to flow and think together. Let's not just close the meeting. And I think we would have allowed the report to be tabled. And after the table, then you make your inputs. And lastly, Mr. Boyk, I'm not the spokesperson. He is engineer. For the record, he is qualified at the university in Holland. He's a qualified engineer. There's nothing like road engineer of water. Engineer is broad. It's a very broad perspective. So that is why he's an he'll speak for himself. I'm just saying that there's also just a speaker of turn as well. And also a process that undermining other people. Let's have a decent meeting, please, comrades, and allow the music to flow. And after what you presented, we can critique the report. And from that critique, you can then even get a clear way forward. You can make your point succinct without preempting any report. And that's my appeal, Chair. Maybe we can run the meeting as well. We will register progress. Otherwise, the meeting will become monotonous. It's only two of you. Couple again interjections, and we lose the plot. And even the same people you're representing might lose some confidence because the meeting is not open up. And we don't have a decent meeting where ideas flows. That's why there's a meeting. When we have meetings, objective meetings, to allow ideas to flow and at some point to converge. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, and maybe what I should ask, is there anybody who wants to volunteer sharing this meeting? Can we get a volunteer to chair this meeting? Anybody? You want to come and chair? You want to chair it?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. You can chair for me.
Rightfully so. ABC, the Queen of Health. I hear what you're saying, sir. 100% so. Now we need to out to the following. You know the procedures of meetings, how the process has taken place. Any objections and whatsoever. You don't open and hand over. You open and ask for objections, and I was objecting. And I'm objecting in the sense of the community. I would not have spoken out if it was not for the sake of the community. The community is listening in on this right now. They are viewing it live. And I don't want to disappoint them as much. Hence, I asked the Premier, I know you don't want to disappoint the community, myself as well. But the community is being disappointed by the mayor and the rest who falls under his sphere. And that is my problem. We have said it also on Monday with emotions even. I was very subtle in that meeting. I was just listening and interjecting here and there and getting along and so forth. But the point came through.
You never interject.
Yes, is what I'm saying. And the point came through straightforward. And here we got again mandate from the community to say, listen, the mayor, whatever it was a draft, and whatsoever, we are rejecting it. So I understand your point to go into the meeting. It's 100% valid. But what meeting is there if the mayor still has the floor, of which the community don't want? They rejected it. They rejected it. Painfully so. Because we know the demand is not met. There's nothing now that was discussed, that was said is going to be in place. That happened. Nothing. As much as I want us to continue, but it don't help. We continue until we hit another stop wall now, and then we must discuss again what is coming out of that report, of which we already received. This is just a blown up of it. I want to be bold. Hence I'm saying as a gentleman, I also want to try and find the right way to have table manners in this regard. But if we start off a meeting like this and there's already a rejection from the community, I cannot have table manners by allowing them. I can't. We have to move to the next level now. We want to hear the oversight from the Premier, how best he thinks he and his panel can interject or intervene on this one. But the community have called that the mayor must step down and his entire council. That's it. That's the response from the community.
Thank you, David.
Sorry, I have to speak.
On a point of...
I know you were given, that was only you that was supposed to speak, but
No,
this time is mine
is
now.
the chair.
I'm so sorry. Oh, Chairperson,
Yes,
please,
yes,
afford me the opportunity
If
to speak.
you allow me to please request that I formally take over the meeting so that we can have proper discussions. We do not have an agenda for this meeting. We don't know when we will start, when we will end. There was a proposal that the mayor make a presentation as the first item, or rather it was going to happen. There was a rejection of that item. Are there any other items that need to be added to the agenda from the floor? There's feedback from the mayor. We didn't do any introductions. I believe we all know each other. We'll see the names on the register. There needs to be the agenda items tabled so that we know what happens after the presentation, if it happens, if it's rejected, if it's accepted. Any other points? Is it feedback? Any other points for the agenda?
Yes, can I add one more point?
Go ahead.
The next point, and I take it from the previous meeting, way forward from the Premier.
Chair, let's pause my point there.
Yes, sir.
My point will be municipal structures act and system act, because we must reflect on the law, what the law provides for us. So we must not speak out of terms. So I want to deal with the issue of community participation. So when we arrive at that point, allowing platform to engage. Yes, Chair.
There wasn't clarity on the point that's been tabled. It's the presentation, yes or no, or rather the presentation was one of the points. Second point was for processes.
Chair, can I maybe quickly sufficient? Before we engage the issue of the presentation of the mayor, can we engage legislation first? So that we have a backing of legislation. So that if communities are not happy, they must have at least a reference if they want to escalate this issue. So my issue is that let's start with legislation projects so that we level the playground. So it's my submission we have to that let's sponsor this first item that deals with system X because it deals with community participation. Because it's important for members of the public to know what is their roles and responsibilities.
Can I call on a point of order?
Yes, Chair.
Can we allow the gentleman to finish?
Is to
Point of-
interject on that
point
because
of order,
the
David.
gentleman must identify himself. We don't know who he is and on what behalf is he speaking.
Yes, Chair. Chair, the one who's speaking here is Emma Presiding from MMC member for Supply Municipality. Yes, Chair.
Thank you. 2 items on the agenda. Third item.
Sorry, let me come in there. Actually, you are denying a brilliant guy to come up with a solution.
Who is that? That's you.
Please move.
We've got the MEC for Costa there. Solplaik is under him. If there's any problem, let him take over. There's an MEC for Costa. Solplaik is under him. So if there's any problem, let him answer. Not the Premier. The Premier cannot be accountable for the mayor. The man is there that must answer on behalf of.
Another trick here is that I appointed this year.
Sorry, there are 2 items on the agenda. Can we next? Gentlemen, ladies, can we have one person speaking, please?
Order, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair. This thing is becoming a laughing stock. And this thing is happening even in National Parliament.
Yes.
And this thing is what brought us to this thing in this Kimberley. I hear some people are laughing.
Yes.
And see they staying somewhere. Now that gentleman there who spoke about we must not cast aspersions, you will come and tell us about the rules. We are not here for the rules, we are here for results. Mr. Chair, I suggest that we break for 5 minutes so that we can go and talk amongst ourselves. Because I don't like what is going on.
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
There's a proposal, I believe you're rejecting, just to take, please keep calm. There's 2 points on the agenda, the feedback by the mayor and by Councillor Gomba, suggesting that we first discuss the legislation that brings us here. If we can have discussions and community participation, please let me conclude. If we can have community participation, there's a rejection of the second point by the gentleman.
Chair, we have asked.
You were not given the floor, please.
Let's first take a break for 5 minutes, then when we come back, then we can conclude everything.
Chair, I'm also asking to be recognized there.
Noted.
Thank you. I want to be clear, Chair. We said our approach is bold and robust. Now we are changing perspectives here. The member that stood up, who said he is Mr. Gomba from Soplaiki, the mayor was supposed to deal with him, not us. We are not here to listen from him or to hear any briefing from him regarding rules or regulations. The mayor was supposed to follow that procedure. If the mayor felt it important to engage with us, he was going to call us to the chambers way before this meeting. And now we must come and give platform to Mr. Gomba and the mayor. It's not going to happen. I want to raise my voice on this, Chair. Sorry for this. And if it comes to the point where people are trying to make this meeting a laughing stock, we are going to excuse you from this meeting because we did not invite you. And you were not part of the meeting on Monday. You were not here invited. We will excuse you here. It's a community engagement to find the resolution for this. So please, we are not here to be lectured. We're not here to be told about legislative protocols and procedures that must be followed. The community has been undermined for far too long.
Yes.
To step aside and take now a hot potato that is thrown our side. Really, I'm saying it with full capacity and full emotion from my side. Our leaders that is sitting here, I understand your emotions and I want to act out on it. But I want to call calmness from your side. We are here to come and get the response. That was actually not a meeting. It's to come and get the response. Now we're not getting the response. Now it's different issues that is on the table now. Really, I want us to move from where we are now to where we get the response. I make that call to you, Chair.
There was proposal for a 5-minute break. Are there any objections from government side? Any objections from the community side?
No.
Do we accept? Do we initially? You object? Mr. Mbepo?
Evening again. My name is Albert Mtanyana. I object this whole 5 minutes and the legislation that ought to be read out in this meeting. I want to be bold and clear on this one. Premier, you are sitting next to Mr. Alderman here, next to the mayor. I want to quote him, and I quote, "This after we received the memorandum from UCSPM, we went back as the mayoral committee and we discussed the memorandum of the community. And this is what we have come to a conclusion on." That was his words in the beginning when he got a platform to respond. Then later on, the mayor changed and the mayor said, but then this is just a draft. So I think it is fair if we do agree now here that the mayor and the council have failed us, even the whole of Soplaiki. We even requested, the premier requested the mayor must come with the memorandums from the different communities.
Thank you.
And we don't have them even now here. They are not here. They are in the office. We wanted them here. So it is simple that we have been failed. Can we move to the next point, which is Mayor, Premier, the 500 million. Can we go to that one? That is where you come in now, Mr. Premier.
Are you proposing a point on the agenda, or are you saying something about the points that have been, because we have not concluded yet which are the points on the agenda. As chairperson of the meeting, in the interest of time, we will do away with a 5-minute break and get to the agenda and finish the meeting today.
I'm adding on your agenda.
Okay, so the legislation has been rejected. The response or readout or from the mayor.
Chair. Can you note me?
Noted.
Chair, the mistake that must not do, Chair, is that before I become a councillor, I'm a member of the community.
But you failed.
Before I become
Point of order on.
Chair.
Can we have control? Just one moment, Herbert. Councillor Gomba, you have the floor.
Chair, before I become
I'm rising on a point of order.
Councillor Gomba, could you please for a moment?
Chair, they have said that
Chair, I'm rising on a point of order. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm a bit concerned. My name is Marina Mentis. The gentleman that just wants to talk now, which is Albert, I just can't understand it. A few months ago, he was a councillor in Soprano.
Who are you, man?
point of order.
I already said I'm Marina Mentis.
We are currently discussing the agenda items. There will be no point of order allowed in
Chair, I'm
this
writing on a point
instance.
of order.
On the agenda. Is it on the agenda, ma'am?
I'm writing on a point of order.
Is it on the agenda, ma'am?
No, it's not.
Thank you. Can we,
No, sir.
Sit
ma'am?
down.
Can you sustain my order, please?
Is it on the agenda, ma'am?
No, it's not.
We are currently discussing the agenda. Are you rising on a point of order on the agenda?
No.
Thank you.
Can you please sustain my order, Chair? Listen to my order, please, Chair.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The gentleman.
you're a fair person.
The gentleman, which is Albert, a few months ago he was a councillor in Soprano. Now I'm a bit confused. He was sitting with us in this chambers, failing to resolve whatever issue.
Point of order, Chair. Point of order.
And now,
Point of order.
The two gentlemen, could you please allow the lady to conclude? Mr. Herbert, please take a seat. Mr. Herbert, please take a seat. Please take a seat. Mr. Herbert, please take a seat. Mr. Boyce, there's a point of order being raised currently. Can we allow the lady to conclude and rise on the next?
Chair, one thing I won't do, I won't be intimidated by anything. So please, Albert, don't intimidate me. In fact, don't try me.
Herbert is protected, man. You are making threats and wasting time.
Point of order, Chair.
I did not make.
I rise on the point of order, Chair. Can you please recognize me?
I recognize Boyce and Herbert. You will be third.
Mr. Chair, who is that person speaking there? She's part of the NMC. Because one of the demands of Mamaganda, we no longer notice these people. So whoever she is, she can even go out because we do not want them. They should have been gone. So we do not take the point of order from this person. Hey, listen.
With due respect, I fully understand, ma'am. Please allow me to preside over this meeting. I fully understand what is happening or the intention of what is happening now. It is to disrupt the proceedings and it will not be allowed. Any more points of order will not be allowed going forward until we get to the agenda items. We are on the agenda items, no more points will be taken. If you do rise, if you do...
The community cannot call me a. A guy won't call me a.
Can we...
I won't be intimidated by
No, Patrick.
Fully understood. As the chair, I failed to protect you. We apologize for what has happened, and I believe we'll ask the gentleman to apologize later. On the agenda items, the point, Premier, with due respect, we have discussed extensively and will not allow, gentlemen, if you are unable to keep calm, you'll be asked to leave the chambers. Gentlemen, we have 2 points of discussion. One was rejected.
I still remain, I raised on the point of order which you appointed to me.
Remember what I said just now, that we will not entertain any more points of order and we will move on the agenda. The points that are discussed, or rather that were brought forward, is 2: legislation and the feedback from the mayor. We have rejected, or the floor has rejected. There's no one who is seconding on the legislation or going through the legislation. Now, we need to move on the point which will be discussed going forward. There was a objection that the mayor do the presentation of the response from the municipality.
Chair, was still on the floor.
Gentlemen, are you raising on the agenda point?
Yes, it was on the floor.
On the agenda point,
Yes.
please.
Remember, Chair, I was on the floor and there was a point of order that was called from me. So remember, the point of order has been raised. I must be allowed because I was on the platform. I have raised an issue to say anyone inside the whether you are an MEC, a premier, before you become an MEC and a premier, you are a community member. And if leaders who are sitting in here are saying they are leaders of society, you must allow members of society to engage. Politics, whether you like it or not, it's not about how do you feel. There is an engagement of community. I'm a community member. It cannot be correct for anyone to try and want to trample on my rights as a community member. It cannot be right. There's a constitution of the country, and it's a supreme law, by the way. The supreme law, by the way. If there are issues in a municipality, there are processes. It cannot be, Chair, that we want to bypass processes. It cannot be correct. Hence, I've raised the issue of legislation because I want to empower the community. It's important to empower people so that once we take action,
If I may,
we take
sir,
action that is informed.
if I may, sir, as you were on the floor and there were other inputs, because up until now we've been discussing the agenda items. Your agenda item was raised by you successfully. There's no need to further explain it. The agenda item was put on the floor and it was rejected.
By whom, Chair? By whom? Because what we need to do, we need to sponsor issues here. So that if people have problems, they must engage us on that issue. So that we can develop a way forward, Chairperson. It's how we run issues of meetings. We must engage one another. People must be ready.
Thank you, sir. You're elaborating further.
Yes, Chair.
On the 2 points of the agenda, the feedback from the mayor and the legislation, are there any objections on the points?
Chair, if I may come in there. You asked for agenda points, you received one of the mayor, I made one after the one of the mayor, and you accepted the one of the gentleman, the speaker just before me, of which it was not noted as I've made my point also to say, I want the premier to give us his response that he promised on Monday. That was my agenda point, the premier to respond based on Monday's meeting.
We're currently speaking about the legislation point that was raised. Your point is noted as well. So there are 3 points to discuss. Feedback from or response from the premier, feedback from the mayor, and the legislation that needs to be followed. Are there any members who object to any of these points being part of the agenda? If you speak, you accept or you reject?
I reject.
Which one?
The one of the mayor. Feedback from the mayor.
Rejection of the agenda point where the mayor has to give feedback?
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Noted.
Mr. Chair.
Noted, ma'am. Noted, sir. You are first.
Mr. Chair, my name is Jack Boyson.
And I reject the second point on the agenda, talking to the legislation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, my name is Charlene Paikis. I don't think we came here, and I think we must make it clear to Mr. Gomba that we are not here to discuss the legislation. So I reject. And can we all have a vote of confidence saying that we reject so that he can be satisfied that we don't want to talk about it?
Mr. Gomez, protected man. The third hand.
Yes.
Third and final.
Yes, my name is Cliff Cook, studying in Greenpoint. I also agree that legislation should not be a point of discussion now because these guys who serve, actually the employees of the municipality, they know legislation, whereas the public, the ordinary public, it was their opportunity to go and teach the communities out there regarding legislation and how the community should engage. But they failed.
So do you accept or reject the point?
I reject.
Discussing the point.
I reject that point of Mr. Gomba.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there is currently, if there are no input, there would currently be one agenda item, which would be feedback from the, not feedback, which would be the Premier's response on, can you please give clarity on that?
Okay, to make it clear, it is the Premier's response on Monday's discussion about the ITT and the community's role that they will play on it, as well as the feedback regarding the 106 report, and that was the response that he agreed to.
Premier, the input was given and the agenda item that we're discussing is currently the response from the Premier.
And what I wanted to request, that we need to get somebody to write minutes of these meetings. Because it's said that we sit in meetings, we agree on a way forward, and when we meet in the next meeting, the outcomes are distorted.
Yes.
And that impugns on the relationship of trust that we are supposed to create in such instances. If we are committed to resolving the difficult service delivery challenges which are here in South Africa and in any other municipality in the province, I think there should be a relationship of trust and honesty that should underpin that relationship. So we can't get into meetings. After those meetings, we are at loggerheads about what was concluded. I don't think that is correct. You can't sit hours and hours in meetings. You get out of those meetings and you just easily distort the outcomes of those meetings. So I don't know who's taking minutes of this meeting. We honestly need to do that.
From our side,
we need to do that, or we can have 2 or 3 people who are taking minutes of the meeting.
On responsible minutes of the meeting, there are 2 hands up there. There's recordings apparently of the meeting now.
So there is a recording, but the request is that each time you're done speaking, you must just switch it off.
The recording.
The mic.
The mic.
Yeah. So I think that will assist us because I firmly believe that this is not the last meeting. There will be further engagements. And the issue, let me reiterate how the meeting was concluded. I want to reiterate it again because I firmly believe I'm correct in how I said this is how the meeting was concluded. On that, I'm not going to retreat. I'm correct on what I said, how the meeting concluded. We agreed that the mayor will give the draft response. And in the meeting on Thursday, he will give us a substantive and much more elaborated response. I hope Naledi will be able to retrieve it so that we can play it right. That's what we agreed. And then we agreed that as part and parcel of today's engagement, one of the issues which is in the memorandum, it's about the 500 million. And we agreed that the provincial government will have to come here and give clarity around it. And before I can give clarity on the issue of the 500 million rand and our intervention, I just want to clarify something. A municipality is a government on its own. That's what a municipality is. It's a government on its own. It's got executive powers, it's got legislative powers, it's got administration. We sit with similar problems right throughout the province, and where we go and intervene. Similar problems right throughout the province. It's not for the first time that we are sitting in a meeting with a community which is not happy around issues of service delivery. These problems we sit with right throughout. I'm sure some of you watch the TV, you saw what is happening in Portugal. They closed N1. They're supposed to go there, they've got grievances about their municipality. When we intervene in a municipality, we intervene when communities call us in to come and intervene. We do that in a sensitive way, guided by what Gomba calls legislation. That's our responsibility, in a spirit of cooperative governance and intergovernmental relations. That's what governs us. That's how we should intervene. It's like even national. Even if you go to the president, when the president intervenes, he can't come and intervene as if there is no premier, there is no provincial legislature, there is no executive. He can't intervene as if we don't exist. We are not dissolved. So the municipality of Soprati is not dissolved. So it's a governing body. Our responsibility then as a provincial government, whenever there are challenges which the municipality confronts, in the spirit of intergovernmental relations, is to come in and support the municipality in resolving those challenges. That's why we are here. We are not here to take over. I can't be converted into the mayor of this town. Bentley, as the member of the Executive Council, can't be converted into the member of the mayoral committee. Our responsibility, what the law says, we should come in and assist, support and guide the municipality in resolving these problems. That's our responsibility. So when then community says there's major issues of service delivery, province come and intervene. We intervene, we come in and intervene in that spirit of intergovernmental relations, cooperative governance. That's how we intervene. So comrades, what we do throughout the province, we get the grievances, we get the municipality to sit down with the team from Coxter, work out the responses for these grievances. Call in community members, here is the municipality, here we are, we want to support, what are your issues? And then the municipality says, this is what we thought we can do, we think we can do to resolve these problems. Here are the challenges and all of them. And in a collaborative spirit, you look at how best to resolve the problems. You see, there's an issue that you raised in the member, where you say you don't want all the members of the 24 hours. The problem with it, I'm just raising this as an example. Let me say there's a call that you don't want the members of the Executive Council with me. The Premier, the province is performing bad. We want the members of the Executive Council to be removed. All MECs must be removed. Then the issue is, as a Premier and the deployee of the African National Congress, these members of the mayoral executive, these members of the Executive Council are deployees of the ANC. I must initiate the process with the ANC. I tell the ANC, but ANC, there's a memorandum I received here. People are demanding that members of the mayoral committee should be removed. Because myself, I'm the deployee of the ANC. The members of the Executive Council are deployees of the ANC. If I want them to be removed, The ANC must give concurrence. The ANC must say, okay, we looked into them, these guys are not performing, they must leave. But if the ANC says, no, they are not going anywhere, that's what the ANC say, they are not going anywhere, that work will not be able to remove it. Because these are deployees of the African National Congress, the party that contested elections and deployed them to this municipality. It's not ghosts who brought them here. They came here through a vote. And that vote was for the ANC, and the ANC sent them here. Cyril can't wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm chasing this minister away without first consulting with the ANC. Even the DA does not do things like that. EFF does not do things like that. The EFF mayor will go to the EFF and say there are grievances that these members of the mayoral committee must be removed. And then the EFF executive will convene and say, there's these grievances, do we agree to that as a political party? Because these people who are here, they are representing political parties, which got elected, which got the votes. So there's complications around asking ghosts to remove members of the mayoral committee within 24 hours. He must go to the party that sent him. And there's a party that sent ghosts. He must go to that party. He said, hey, I'm sitting now with a problem. The community does not want these members of the mayoral committee. And then the party says to him, wait, we need to meet as a committee and discuss this. So I'm just raising this so that Congress can have full comprehension of basically what this matter is all about. So when we come in, our responsibility as the provincial government, we come in, I want to re-emphasize it, to support and give guidance. So when we picked up all these problems which are here in Soplati, the mayor of Soplati, this executive, they will tell you how many times they were in my office. I'm certain they've spent more meetings with my office than any other premier in this province. Call them to my office every time. Hey, can you see what is happening? We need to do something in order for us to try and address the issues of service delivery. I called the entire team, the finance team, late at night. It was around 9. The entire team said, sit here. Can we get money to try and resolve the issues with salt like this? I heard in the last meeting we were asked, why is it that we did not do this thing last year? Last year we were primarily focused on COVID. We took each and every cent that we had, planted it in the Department of Health and Department of Education, close to $1 billion, to ensure that we protect our people against COVID. That's what we did last year. We went to an extent of saying all vacant positions in the provincial government should not be filled, because we took each and every cent that we have, planted it in the Department of Health to curb the spread of COVID and to protect lives. And at least as we sit now, we are in a new financial year now. We are 22 days in a new financial year. I called them and said, sit here, tell me what is it that we can do to try and assist supply. And then we agreed on this 500 million rand, urgent intervention. 100 million thereof gets into potholes. And we said to ourselves, by the end of this year, there should be no potholes if we plant in 180 million. It's money that is available. We are not talking about money that will be available in 2025 or 2024. This is a one-year projection. And there is no provincial government anywhere in the country that has given a municipality money to fix potholes. I want you to give me a provincial government that gives a municipality money and say, fix your internal roads. Internal roads, streets, is the responsibility of the municipality. Our responsibility is the roads when you drive out of Kimberley. As soon as you get out of Kimberley, you go to reach it, that becomes our responsibility. You drive out of here, you go to Bartley West, it becomes our responsibility. But the streets inside, in front of the mall and all of that, where you are struggling with potholes, is the responsibility of the municipality. It's local roads which have got nothing to do with us. For the first time in this province, the provincial government gives one municipality 180 million rand to address potholes between 12 months. It has never happened. Never happened. I want you to give me an example thereof. So we did it. Because of the other problem which was consistently raised of how do we address sewer and water leakages. And then we asked the municipality how much are you going to do to immediately address this problem of sewer and water leakages. They said to us we need about 16 million, isn't it? And then we gave them 20 million. We said for case where you've made a miscalculation, we are giving you 20 million back. And then for the cleaning of the city, one of the issues that we consistently raise, the city is dirty. It's filthy. We need to ramp up our program to clean the city, ensure that the city is clean. We gave them 15 million rand. There are people through the floods, the rains that we have been plunged into their houses, where they're plunged in water and all of that, and particularly people who are staying in informal settlements. And then we spoke to the municipality, 44 million rand for temporary residential units for those people whose houses are flooded, and particularly people in informal settlements. But that does not address the problem. There's a bigger problem of housing in Kimberley. I don't know how many of you read the report by what do you call Statistics SA. I think it's their 2011 report. Where Stats SA said in South Africa, Kimberley has got your biggest households. Which means in one house we've got about 3 generations which are staying there. Egg player maize, some egg bacon secondary. That's what is happening here. That's the reason why there's big households. And there's a need for us to embark on an urgent housing program. There's housing programs which are running, where we are trying our utmost best to ensure that we build houses for the people and we make sites available for them. So what we did then is to take 144 million rand for Hull Street social housing development. Because if we put up that Hull Street social housing development, it will help us a lot. For these police who don't have places to stay, nurses who don't have places to stay, who end up renting RDP houses, and people leaving their RDP houses going and staying in informal settlements. That thing is right. I don't know whether you know it. Where people who get RDP houses, you go to the people who are staying in informal settlement. They've got RDP houses. They don't qualify to get a second RDP house. But they've rented their RDP houses to somebody else who's a nurse, somebody who's a police, somebody who's an administrative officer, who can't afford accommodation here in town. They've rented those things out. And they took that, go and stay in an informal settlement and get an income of 3,000 rand per month. So how to address that problem is to ensure that the ones who are renting get access to housing. And the only way to ensure that they get access to housing is for us to ramp up our program of social housing. 144 million rand we are going to pump into social housing. Leave out all the other housing projects that we have, like the Ratong Park development and all of that. This is actually meant to target these ones who are taking people out of their RDP houses, renting RDP houses, and getting them to go and stay in an informal settlement. So the other project as well, I've just... I'm coming now, I've just lost my notes here. So also what we did then, because of the mushrooming of informal settlements, we needed to buy land where we can actually, for housing development. And then for that, we've got 53 million rand to purchase land on Antwerp. That is for housing development. And the reason why we bought land at Antwerp is simply because we want to build low-cost houses which are closer to areas of economic activity. We don't want to build houses as the apartheid regime has done. Build houses for our people, far from the city. And then when people come to town, they have to get onto 2 or 3 taxis. But we wanted to, what we did is to buy land as close as possible to the town, so that when we build houses there, we make sites available. People are much closer to town, at least to take 1 taxi. If you can't afford 1 taxi, you can walk to town. That's the reason why we purchased the land on N12 for housing development. So on top of that, one of the issues that I raised in one State of the Province address is that within the next 5 years, we want to ensure that there's 25,000 service sites in the Northern Cape that we are going to distribute to the people of the Northern Cape. 25,000 service sites. And we've actually taken 37 million rand for the establishment of 2,933 sites here in Kimberley. Because people who are staying in informal settlement, there's no services there. People just go around, put up a shanty, there's no water, there's no sewer, there's no roads, there is nothing. So what we are looking at is to ensure that we are going to have 3,000 sites, service sites, where people can go and put up their structures. At least when you put up your structure, you've got a house, you've got water, you've got electricity, and then you've got sanitation. So that's 3,000. And if we manage to implement that successfully, that would actually mean that we'll be able to address the major challenge that we are sitting with of informal settlements which are popping up everywhere in the city. So that is the commitment that we are making. This is the single biggest intervention by this provincial government since 1994. Worse, apartheid would have never considered doing it. Single biggest investment to this town to ensure that it won't address all the problems, but it will go a long way to addressing challenges which are there. All the challenges which are in the memorandum are basically addressed. The issue of the internal roads is addressed here. The issue of sewer and water leakages is addressed in this 500 million grant. The issue of a dirty city, which is filthy, is addressed. The issue of people who are plunged in houses which are actually submerged in water, is addressed. The issue of the 144 million rand for social housing to address issues of low income people who can't really get subsidies and don't qualify for RTPs, for them at least to get housing so that they don't chase after RTP houses. It's addressed, and you've got the issue of us buying land, making land available so that we can put up housing development. We are about to finalize this purchase contract now for N12 and the issue of establishment of sites. There are many people who say, I don't want an RTP house. They tell us right in our faces, I just want a site which is properly serviced with water, electricity, and sanitation. That's what people are saying. Hence, this attitude that alongside our program of building houses, we need to ensure that we make service sites available to us. And all of this, if you read all of this, you read the memorandum that we received from you, it responds almost to 80–70% of the issues which are there in the memorandum. So this is a special package of response by the provincial government. That's our package of response. We've established a team because of the capacity problems in Soplaki, which has got engineers from housing, engineers from public works, which has got people from the provincial treasury, to ensure that each and every cent of this 500 million rand go to where it's supposed to go. Building of houses, get these sites right, fixing of potholes, and all of it. We've got an interdepartmental team which also includes supply. So Soplaki is our partner. It's not our enemy, it's the provincial government. Like all other municipalities, these are our partners in development to improve and the quality of lives of the people of the North. So that's our intervention. Because we picked up what are the challenges which we are confronted with. For our response to COVID, with the last financial year, it's about 620 million. And then we gave the Department of Education about 215 million. Our response to COVID was 620 million. And this response, which we are reporting here, is almost the same amount as the one that we used to respond to COVID right throughout the province. And at a time of financial difficulties for the national government, the provincial government, and local municipalities in the province. Maybe something that you comrades don't know. Just last year alone, our municipalities lost 800 million rand in revenue. Because as soon as we locked down for COVID, people locked down and did not pay for services. People locked down. These municipalities almost ESCOM came and locked and cut off your electricity. Almost, ESCOM was saying almost to cut off their electricity. We had to call in ESCOM and say, but we can't do that. And we paid ESCOM how much? 43 million. With the provincial government. We said, you can't do that. But we are not going to go and occupy front page newspapers. Hey, the electricity was going to be shut down by ESCOM in Soklaki. We gave the municipality 43 million because the municipality is our partner. It's our partner in development. And that relationship has got its own challenges. This is where ESCOM moved in, water boards want to move in, cut off water. Sidibeng can't cut off water. Sidibeng will tell, but we need deep. Get the money and pay to Sidibeng so that people can continue having water in those municipalities. So that's our relationship. That is what defines this relationship. That we are partners in this thing. If there are challenges, it's our collective challenges. We are not going to isolate one, open him up to abuse. Our responsibility as the provincial government is to give support and guidance to ensure that we address these challenges. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair.
Thank you. We have received an extensive feedback or information from the Premier on the funds that were allocated to Soklaki municipality, the 500 million allocated to Soklaki municipality. And at this point, I will open up the floor for questions on this item.
Thank you, Chair.
Can I see hands first? Noted, sir. Noted this side, noted. Noted. Noted, sir. Ezra. In that order, as you were noted. Thank you.
Is it me?
Chair,
Can we give the gentleman an opportunity to speak?
Chair, I wanted to ask a Premier question that about the 500 billion. Whether for it not to go the council way, is it because of mistrust, or what informed that decision that the money mustn't go inside the council meeting? Thank you.
I apologize, I did not get the point made. Was distracted. Please, can you give?
Okay, I'll repeat my question, Chair. My question is to the Premier that for the fact that the money is not going through the council, is it because of a mistrust or is there something else that informed that decision? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. My input on the response is, as we have requested from the Premier, he did not mention how to involve the community on this one. Hence, on Monday, he responded on a 60% basis that yes, community will form part of it, but he did not detail it in what regard and how they're going to form and play a role in this. Thank you.
The next hand.
It was after that Fernando is in our defense of the community development forum. Fernando. Fernando. Okay. In as much as we have also now collectively addressed matters in this memorandum. It still boils down to us now having a situation of accounting to each and every community about the realistic expectation of expenditure in terms of this money that has been made available. So, ons moet dit mos nog afbreek en sê is sekere die amount of the proportion. But omdat ons raadslede, our local ward councillors, is also still very blind around this thing as to they are not well informed. How will then we be able to hold our year council or the custodians of these funds again accountable to see to it that, as the Premier mentioned, that these monies is allocated for the streets that we live in and all these areas that is so dilapidated now. Because one of our concerns is that even while this thing started, we are just seeing TRBs and teer mense wat die voorbij gaan rode band toe en alles aan. Dan wordt onze weken zo nagelaten. In plaats van historic neglect, how can we hold this government or local municipality accountable to see to it that their money will benefit our respective communities? Because I want to be biased and say that it is only unfair to see that these trucks and big machineries and all these municipal resources is passing our community that has been neglected, marginalized, isolated for the longest time. And yeah, then we are ANC card-carrying members, for example, that stays in this DA land ward, but still they are being undermined. But gebeur die paaie getier was in Rodepan en in Aspelstraat en wat se straat daarso. Toe kom daar 'n trop en klomp gravel kom gooi in ons diep potholes wat ons self vir 3 maande kon gehou het om toe te maak. So that is burning issues that we want us to also have our active citizenry monitoring framework in place to see to it that these developments come to us, because that is what is frustrating us. So now we have also now just holistically broken it down there, but the chart that you gave us, what 144 goes there, 200 goes there. How much is going to Ward 3, Ward 1, Ward 7, and who is going to see to it that the action plan is being implemented in terms of what we see, because we conduct these audits of the challenges that we see in our communities. Thank you, Premier.
Can I just, there were 2 extra hands. Yes, the ones that were noted before, there were 2 extra hands. A hand here. How many questions will you take, Premier? All the questions on the response of the mayor, the Premier.
They should just give their name.
You should please give your name when you give your question. There's
other MCs will also fill it.
Thank you. I've noted the hands that have noted themselves. The hand here, a hand here, a hand at the back, a hand here, and the last hand there. Thank you.
Ja, my vraag is rondom.
Could you please give your name?
My naam is Cliff van Greenpoint. Ek represent eintlik die artisanal miners op, waarvan ek ook niks hoor die van die artisanal mining gespraat word en hoe ons dit getrok gemaak word. Maar met betrekking tot die geld wat 500 miljoen rand, ja is waar. Hier is die duidelikheid rondom hoeveel geld gaan vir Greenpoint, veral as ek praat van Greenpoint, wat agtergeblewe gemeenskap vir baie jare is. Veral vir as ons nog gaan kyk, soos ek nou so praat, daar's water wat loop, water wat sterk loop in Greenpoint. Daar's stories wat die hele, wat die as mense wat, hy kan nie slaap daar in hy plek nie. Huise wat elke dag, die begrafplaas is vol. As ek moet amper gesê, kom ek sê maar, ons praat van 500 miljoen rand, en daar was 100 miljoen rand beplan vir die bou van huise daar in Diamond Park, daar is nog net 300 huise gebou. Waar is die rest van hy 100 miljoen, ek sê 100.000, 100 miljoen. Waar is hy geld? Maar hier is nou 500 miljoen wat nou hier... Hoe word die geld dan op verdeel? Gaan die geld dan ook kom verskuif word na ander gebiede? Want soos ek sê, die projekte wat in Grieponds is dan nie eens klaar nie. Die paaie is ook in 'n hoofpaaie wat na die lughawe toe lê. Die is dan ook in 'n moeilike toestand. Hoe sê ons vir Greenpoint mense nou van? Dit is die respons wat ons van. En die mense daar by die soe daar langs aan beton sit. Hoe gaan sê ons hy mense met betrekking tot die vergadering, want ons moet verslag gaan gee. Mense daar, ons is net gesê van 500 miljoen rand. En as ek hier die duidelikheid, die respons van die antwoord van die munisipaliteit, dit wys is, die mense is eintlik baie negatief en hulle maak vir ons ook negatief. Hier is geen antwoord met betrekking tot die insig op die memorandum. Niks.
Was it the last hand this side? There were 2 hands this side, if I remember. Oh, sorry. It's Tumelo at the back. Your hand will be last, after the gentleman.
Well blessed greetings. My name is Tumelo. I'm a law-abiding citizen, South African citizen. I like it when we talk about the law, because no one is above the law.
Amen.
What I would like to emphasize, I'd like to appreciate the information that the mayor was sharing to all of us here, as we are seated here. And the main thing that we are here is because of the community cries and they brought their demands. And still to this day, there are demands that have been out there and they have not been met. The people are still suffering. And we are still seated here discussing these things. And action is not taking place as we are seated here, because we want a resolution. And action needs to take place. One of the things why I'm sharing this is because of, I heard that the Premier was sharing some statement about different political parties, talking about this political party and that in terms of the government. And one of the issues is that we are seated here because as the community, the political that is there, the political conflict that are happening within the government, that makes our people to suffer. As a community member, I am not affiliated in any political party because of my best interest is for the community. We're talking about service delivery, which is in the memorandum, the main thing. I heard that the Premier was talking about to save lives. And all that the Premier was sharing there in the statement and what he was talking about, we'd like as the community to have an open door policy document to get all these reports in document, in black and white, everything that has been done. Because the question is, since these demands have been made, what has been done up to this day? For instance, I would like to make one clear statement that is there to say, when the memorandum and different memorandums were handed in, the community went out to a strike because of they made their demands to the mayor, which Sol Plaatje have failed till this day. Because people are still on water for about 7 weeks, and they were there at that place. And people at the informal settlement are still on water. And as we speak, the snakes that run from the field, the people are still suffering. Where are they going to sleep? Number 2, 4 people lost their life in a shack that burned due to there was no water. When people are there in an informal settlement, there needs to be service, basic service, communal tax, for instance. That shack has been there for how long? But there was no basic source of life. We're talking about water. That incident could have been curbed if the water was there. But there was no water. Now, who needs to be held accountable for that? Because of the family that died. How many people, because winter is approaching, people don't have basic service. I'm talking about the people that were taken by the same municipality, Sol Plaatje, the people from Khalishiwe, they were taken. They have been there 8 months. They have not been given basic service. We are talking now about the law. What is the law that is saying? Within 72 hours, when you bring people, you move them from a place to another place, they need to be provided with basic service. Isn't it so? So, if you are breaking the law and then you are municipality, the same as a citizen, if you break a law, there needs to be criminal charges that needs to be put for you. So, municipality must be held accountable because of people still today are sitting without basic service. They are still there that were brought by municipality. Let's go back to talking about saving lives, Mr. Premier. Last night, there's a shack that burned because of this water that was cut at night. And in the meeting on Monday, these issues were raised. It was an awareness point that was made to say, these things are going to, if these things are happening, how are we going to resolve that? It said that no, the fire department will be called. They were called. They came in their own time. The shack has burned. Who needs to take accountability? We are here, yes, today because of to resolve the memorandum. There are things in the memorandum that says with immediate effect. We're talking about areas that are in disaster areas. What is the action that has been taken? You are our leaders. You are our leaders. We have engaged several times with the municipality. We need to go out here with a response to our community. But the question is, we bring this to them. Now your part to do the action. What action are you going to take? Hence, the community is asking, Mr. Premier, please save us. Save Kimberley as a whole. We are pleading and we are asking. We are here because we are making our demands. And the demands of the community must be met. That is where we go to the Constitution where it states that the people shall govern. So we are asking you, that memorandum, let it be the one that is governing on behalf of the community. We have our MECs here that are seated here of health. We are talking about the issue of dirty water. Even when that same day the water was open, how many babies that have to drink out of that water? Pregnant women, children that have to drink out of that dirty water. Schools, children are losing out on their education because there was no water. So we are just here to make that, to say, Mr. Premier, please, this is the time for you to step in, especially when the community have said to say that draft memorandum response that they are not going to accept it. So please, Mr. Premier, make Kimberley proud, make Northern Cape proud. Take that responsibility. It is in your hands. Thank you.
Can I request the members in the Can I request that we note the hands again because the response was extensive. It was needed. Can we please have brief questions given to the Premier on the response that we gave on the 500 million? Can I see the hands again that were outstanding? I've noted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions that came out from the previous hand. Hand number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last 7 hands can we do a last 7 hands can we oh 8. Can we have quick questions in the interest of time and not long extensions of, because we know the challenges, the Premier and the Mayor and the Mayoral Committee and the MECs are supposed to know the challenges as well by now. So let's not give it again. Let's specifically ask a question based on the response that was given by the Premier.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Premier, my question is very short. 2019 we had a budget, 2020 we had a budget, 2021 we have got a budget. Nothing has happened. You mean it would be almost 150 million same principle with this budget. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Jonathan Gasaki. Quick question to the Premier. Mr. Premier, all we as the community also, this 500 billion, the 500 billion that you
Only clarity, billion with an N.
So the billion you allocated to the municipality, please make sure this money is being spent correctly. Because I can tell you, I live in Northern Park, currently I'm living at Robertson, because I'm one of the disaster families that can move. I drive every single day to Kimberley. Those people are not working in Northern Park. They are there laying under the trees, and you allocated money from government side. We are very thankful for you for helping out so like it. But your money is not being spent properly, Mr. Premier. That's why we're asking you to intervene now. You need to step in. Because there's people, like I'm sitting here, you know, one of my community members phoned me this morning. I got a video where he got a snake in the black water. We caught it so pliky. People stealing your diesel. While they have to pump that sewage in our houses, it's going from 1 tree. Then I'm at Robertson, and it's sad. You know, I'm spending a lot of money on fuel. My son, that used to be the future leader of this country, I used to wake him up in the morning at 5:30 to get him to school at 7 in the morning. My son, he sits and sleeps in the car if he eats his porridge, and yet he said, Mr. Mayor, I was sitting in this very same chambers. It's week 4 now. Mr. Mayor never came back to me. It's week 4. So please make sure this money, this 500 million you allocated, is being spent for right reasons and not wrong reasons. Then we're going to get faith back into you as the provincial government. And we can back you up. But if this money is not going to be spent right, Mr. Premier, we are coming back to you and keep you accountable for this money. Because it's our tax money that's been spent here. Not DA, not ANC, not EFF, not any political party's money, but it's our money. We are spending a lot of money, and you know, it's so sad. There's times I feel like I cry. You know, I even went to your office. I spoke to Mr. Susu as one of the community members that was in his office. That is 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Basari, in the interest of time, you have made the point that the money should be spent correctly, and you are elaborating on the challenges that we have, that you have specifically, and the people that will move to Robertson as well. Can we move to the next question?
That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Chair. My name is Julius. Mr. Premier, thank you, colleagues. I would like to put it to you, Mr. Premier, that the 500 million that you allocated to the municipality, I'm going to put it blindly and I'm going to put it straightforward, that 500 million, even on your report, doesn't speak to our people's challenges. It speaks to the people who have worked, the doctors or whoever, to build them houses. It doesn't speak to our community's challenges that they are going through daily. It doesn't speak to the poorest of the poorest issues. It speaks to the roads. People are driving cars, that drives cars. Not that I want to, it's important that our roads must be. But our people that are living in Halashue and in Border Park, especially in our wards that I'm coming from, it's a disaster, Premier, to see how our people living in our communities. It's a disaster, and it's also for me. It's surprisingly to hear. You are correct, Premier. You have an oversight role to the and also supportive structure to the municipality. And you have raised something that from the political parties side. Now one question comes to my mind, Premier. Are you saying that as a leader from a political party, from the ANC organization, that you are not seeing the outcries of our communities out there, the challenge that they are going through? What process, or what is the accountability process that are being held on this executive that our organization has put this leader in? Are you saying that our outcries out there, even our leaders can't see that communities are striking? Are they not calling in councillors and mayors to account for their actions, for what is transpiring in communities? Are our leaders not seeing that this municipality is in a state of collapse? Because of, we must be honest, there are no leaders. Because of no one can give leadership because of what is transpiring out there. We know, as I'm sitting here, Premier, this is just but a document. And it's several times proven by this executive, by the memorandums that were handed over and nothing happened. Even it was, our memorandum was delivered in front of the MEC of Health, the MEC of Coxton. Our communities made one outcry that must be done immediately. They can tell me if I'm lying. I can tell him now. I see there's disaster people of Water Park, White City. The Shelties, the mayor and the MM said, this is a disaster area. They said it. It's not here. Our people is still, Premier, if you go out here, you can go to Water Park, they're the Shelties. They are still in water. They are still in water. And for me, I'm telling you, and I will say it every time, for me, the MM and the speaker, they are a bunch of liars. They are liars. And therefore, I will not retract from that item that say the mayor must go. And the MM, they must go. Because of, they didn't even only lie to Wooded Park, they lied to several communities, Greenpoint or whatever. They lied. And now I'm asking my political party, what are they doing? Because the communities have outcried their outside. I want, when we speak to the Premier, let the monies that were allocated address the poorest of the poorest challenge. Litawa Park don't have electricity. There's no water. There's nothing. There's nothing.
On the point, okay, it's not a point of order, it was just clarity that I requested that we ask the questions. Your question is noted, I believe the Premier has noted it as well. We will elaborate in the end. The final hands, this side, lady here. Yes. Can we, gentlemen, can we give the lady an opportunity? And these will be the final hands. Which lady is it?
My naam is Nadia, ek is van Greenpoint. Maar soos ons hier so sit, is ons as 'n geheel. Ek wil net weet, want soos die booklet uitgesit is, ek sien nie regtig wat die mense wil ontvang nie. Eerstens wil ek vra die housing development in Hall Street. Wie kom is die beneficiaries van dit? En soos ek gehoor het, Mr. Zamani praat van mense kan nie uit hulle se posisies uitgehaal word nie, want hulle was appointed deur die ANC. Nou vra ek myself wie waar ek sit. Wie is die ANC? Die ANC is mos die president wat appoint is, dan is dit die premier, dan is dit die MEC's, dan is dit die municipality, dan is dit die BEC's, dan is dit die mens op die grond. Wie het die leiers in posisies gesit as dit nie die mens op die grond is nie? En as 'n leier nie sy werk doen nie, dan is dit mos outomaties die community wat moet opstaan en dinge self begin doen. Ek dink eendag toe Mr. Zamani Greenpoint toe gegaan, toe het Mr. Zamani dit baie mooi gesê dat moenie kom met probleme nie, kom met solutions. Ons het telke male met solutions vorendag gekom, maar dit was nog nooit aandag geskenk aan daardie solutions nie. So nou vra ons, wat gebeur het in die past in Mr. Zamani? Mense moes beklei vir vryheid. Maar it seems like ons gaan weer terug na die tyd toe, want ons moet dan beklei nadat ons leiers appointed om dinge vir ons reg te maak. So ek wil net weet, elke ding wat ons vra as die community, want ons leiers het ons gefail. Ons vra van die premier af, want die municipality het ons hopeloos gefail. En daar is iets non-negotiable. Want die manier hoe ons lewe soos diere. Ons lewe nie soos mense nie. So ons vra van die premier af, om asseblief daar te intervene. En reg te maak, daar waar verkeerd is. En wanneer 'n leier nie sy werk doen nie, Mr. Zamani, dan moet hy afgaan. Daar is nie nog 'n tweede storie daaraan nie, want jy kan nie sit en jou salaris verdien nie. Dan moet ander mense suffer, waarvoor jy neergesit is om te sê, jy's uitgesit doen die werk, maar jy doen dit nie. Which is very wrong. So ons vra net van ek sien nie eintlik in hierdie meeting, ek sien nie dat ons iewers kom met dinge nie. So ek gaan my excuse van hierdie meeting af, want ons bereik niks in hierdie meeting in nie. Ons het nog nie gehoor waarvoor plek kry wat uit die 500 miljoen rand uit die, wat kry waarvoor plek uit waar nie. Hier is niks, hier is nou net die housing van Hall Street, it's something good, but who is going to be the beneficiaries at the end of the day?
Question noted. The next hand, this side. Mr. Bebo, could you please take a seat? Let's go this way. There's the lady and then the gentleman. You will be the last input. No further hands. No further hands.
Mr. Chair, I am Samuel just for this when wat ek graag wat is die naam nog weer? Samuel Jaars voor deze
Samuel Jaars.
Voor hier samen die persoon dat nog net gepraat van Greenpoint dat volgens mij dat die persoon die aparte speech uit en wat kan as ek met die hierspraak kan ons direct deal met die demands van die gemeenskap. Of dan moet ons maar die hele storie van die hand gewys. Want ek is hier om te begin liegen word van op die N12 van de huizen, waar ek het wil nie hoor wie kry geld en ek weet dan dat ek gaan niks benefit hou. Let's deal to the issue. Kom ons gaan met die deuringe. Ons deal nou met die demands van die gemeenskap. Ons het hier gekom skool toe, asseblief, val met die deuringe. Ek loop per voet, MBC en wie, etc. karre, hulle kan ry, ek loop met die voet in die donker, dan val met die deuringe. I thank you for the opportunity.
Okay.
Could you please switch the mic off?
No, thank you for the opportunity. I would just like to comment on what the lady said as well, but we would like the Premier to give I'm Patrick Marcoso from the Artisanal Miners Forum, but I'm not going to mention any of those now because we focus on this, but maybe if there is a chance, I'll say something about it. Second.
There is dialogue.
Okay.
Can we?
Okay, let me continue. Okay, fine. I'm on the 500.
You also give me problems. Now you are telling I'm giving you problems.
Yeah, welcome.
Chair, allow me to interject. Chair, allow me to interject.
No,
Chair,
No, I'm
allow me
taking 500
to interject.
I'm on the 500.
Chair, allow me to interject.
Allow. Could you please switch the mic off?
Thank you, Chair. It's not only me who's feeling like this. We are collective.
I'm not a talk show type of person. I don't like Hollywood. Hollywood is for actors. We are not here to act on behalf of others. We are here to speak on behalf of others. We have allowed the process to continue. But only from one side of this floor, responding in this regard. I also want to hear, to see, you know, they say when you act wrongfully and you want to be excused from what you have done, that was wrong. Why the municipality people are not also raising their hands in this regard? Why it comes only from our quarter of the table? I've said it many times. I want to be a gentleman on this table, and I want to handle things as profound as it should be dealt with. I respect the fact that Premier is taking notes of what we are discussing, but I think we are going in circles here. It was clear on Monday. When we come here, Premier must tell us how we are going to participate in the 500 million. Nothing else. Now we want to go into details of this community. He must give detail. Why I'm saying this is, and this is said without disrespect, Premier, we don't want to undermine you, but we also don't want to be undermined. Our intellectual levels is on different levels here as we are seated, as a collective. We want to hear, and we want to make a profound founding after you have responded, to say how the community is going to be part of this. Myself, and I want to make it clear, I don't have any interest in anything except myself doing what I'm doing. So I want Premier to be straightforward and tell us how the community is going to be part of this, and based on that, we will give a response also. Because we were actually here only for your response, nothing else. I'm sorry, leaders, if I was saying this on your behalf, but collectively, I believe we have decided on this. And let's not play around the bush about it. Throw stones into the bush and see what jumps out. No, no, no. Let's not do that. We are busy with, also from our side, with theatrics. Let's stop it.
This is serious.
The Premier told us how the money was framework. Fine. Now let him tell us how the community is going to partake in this. Service delivery is the main issue here. Let's not run away from that. Thank you.
Do I open for more hands? The ones that were
Next to you.
remaining, there was your index here that wasn't concluded.
Yeah, I was on the floor. I was just going to talk about the 500 million this time, that we would like the Premier to break it down per constituency or per area so that the community can know exactly how they're going to benefit. And if possible as well, probably these big projects, they usually appoint people from Mpumalanga, the contractors from Joburg or whatsoever. Then we would like to know if the community will be afforded opportunities to be subcontracted or how they're going to work. So that the community mustn't just see machines and contractors showing up in their constituency without them knowing who they are, how they're going to benefit. So it will be okay if the Premier can just break it down the area. Because obviously we know there won't be any Kimberley constructors doing all this job. There'll probably be someone from Mpumalanga, from Limpopo coming here with their own people without employing local people. So maybe that should be considered as well. That's it for now.
That's all I'm saying. The final hand.
Mr. Premier, thank you, Dr. Premier. Just to add on cost, everyone is I'm Jack Mopato, and this house, those who know me, I'm actually in the South African National Defence Force. What triggered me is the situation of Kimberley. This is why when I speak of Kimberley, I become emotional. Because myself, I concur with the previous speakers that the time of speaking and speaking and speaking is over. Now that, and I appreciate, Premier, that you have given us, you have break it down. I assume it's a 5 million, am I correct? 500, sorry, 500 million. That you have broken down to 20 million, 15 million, 44 million. I appreciate it. My only question is, when is this going to start? Because the people outside, people give them feedback and they see no action. They will think this was just a talk show. So very important is when it's going to start. And those short demands that we put there. I think that is what is making people so angry outside. It's because they don't see, one moment we see one street being swept or one street being patched, the second moment we see nothing happening. Please, those small demands that are there, that can be addressed immediately. Let those people do that, please. I'm begging on behalf of the people. That's the only thing that made me to be part of this. I know I am risking my job as a soldier. But my point is if there's any eruptions that may come out, the first thing, we're going to send out the police. The very police who are also suffering, whose kids are also drinking the same dirty water, just like my kids drinking the same dirty water. If they fail to control the crowd, we as the soldiers, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the army, but I'm speaking that is what will be happening. As the last line of defense will be roped in. Now, to me, it will be cowardice. Because as a soldier, I'm here to protect the entire house here, Kimberley and South Africa. But in this state that we are in, it's a disgrace. I said it Monday and I'm reiterating it again. I said, Madiba, that in the speech up there at the circle, I don't know if it's a statue, what is it? In his grave is turning. It's an insult to his family and it's an insult to the rest of us.
To the world.
I said, Robert Sobukwe, when we passed there, Robert Mangolisi Sobukwe, sand is there. It's dirty there. It's an insult to his family. It's an insult to us because those people fought for us. I said this place is named after Solomon Tekisho Plaiki. It's an insult, the services that are coming out under his name. That is why earlier on I was getting angry. I asked myself, these people who are laughing at us thinking that we are stupid here, where are they from? Are they living on another planet? So, in a nutshell, please, if you can just have the period, the timing, when is this project going to start so that people can see. So that people can see something is happening. And those immediate ones, like the White Turkey, that is underwater, the other sheds there, I've got it here. They're underwater, Greenpoint is underwater, the Khalisho is underwater, our pump stations that are covered by grass, that is why the pipes are breaking and the water is blocking now and then because it's a bit of it. All of it is in here. I'm not sorry. I went out of my way with my team. We went physically to go and do the research and took photos. We are not just talking because we just fall from the tree. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are many hands that came up. The inputs that were given, there's some which repeat themselves. In the interest of time, there will be no further questions allowed on the 500 million response from the Premier, which also touched on how the mayoral committee could be removed or the actions and the processes. There were questions on that as well. I will move to get the final response from the Premier and then we move on the way forward. Your hand and other hands as well. In the interest of time, can we please allow for the response from the Premier and then we move forward? Premier, could we get a response from you?
No, thank you very much, Chair. And I've got a team of MECs, and we've got some HODs which are here that will also assist to reflect on some of the questions which were asked. Because I think one of the nagging issues is when are we going to start the implementation of these projects? I think I've mentioned it, that we have established the implementation task force because this is money that we must spend before the end of March next year. End of March next year, which is this financial year, we should have spent the entire amount. So So we've established the implementation task team, which has got skilled people from the different departments. With regard to a whole lot of issues that we have mentioned, that implementation task team is currently finalizing their work schedule, isn't it, Ramona? Is it a work schedule? Yes, it's a work schedule. For an example, around the, let me take one project, the issue of fixing of internal roads. They will identify all major roads in the city that need to be fixed. So there will be a work schedule that says, these are the roads that have been identified for the next 3 months that will be fixed. And then when you look at that work schedule, you'll see here's a road in Rodepan, here's a road in Greenpoint, here's a road in Colville, here's a road in Kalishin. But all your major roads first, we'll start with. And then we fix all of those roads. So as soon as they finish with that work schedule, we are going to make it public. You would know exactly for the first phase of fixing and resealing of internal roads, which roads are going to be dealt with in your different areas. Because that's what the work schedule is all about. But the other thing which I also want to raise here, we are not speaking of money that we still have to make application for. It's money that we have as the provincial government. We reprioritized our budget to make this money available. But the ITT, which is the implementation task team, is a technical task team of both the provincial government and as well as the local municipality. Because let me just try to explain this. If you've got a car and you want to maintain your car, but you don't have money to maintain your car, and I've got money to assist you to maintain your car, the car still remains your car, isn't it? It does not become my car because I'm assisting you to maintain it. It's exactly the same with these roads. These roads belong to the municipality. We are just assisting the municipality to maintain the roads. And they still remain municipal roads. They won't change and become the roads of the province. So basically that is the relationship. But we said, and what the municipality is supposed to do in terms of that work schedule is to also identify all areas we sit with major problems of sewer, sewer outbursts and water outbursts like Rodepan. I was in Rodepan on a number of occasions, not once. There was one comrade who was asking, when last were you in Rodepan and all of that? I was there at the hostels in Rodepan. I found the mayor, I was there. Right in front of one of the flats there, there's a sewer outburst and there's somebody who's on a wheelchair who can't even get out of the flat because there's a hell of a burst with raw sewer right in front of the hostel. So what then the team will have to identify is all those areas which sit with these major problems. And then start there as the first phase. Within the next 3 months, we are going to focus here. And that work schedule will be sent out. I was telling you, comrades, that we are busy finalizing. I'll be signing the documents for the purchase of the extra of land in order for us to give people service sites. I heard one person there, he left. He said that Pateka next for Romy. Maybe he's not staying in a shanty. It's possible he's not staying in a shanty.
He's
but
staying in a
never
shanty.
say it means nothing for him. When we buy a piece of land to service sites for people who are staying in shanties, why would that not mean anything to him? Because we need to move people from where they are staying. In most of these areas where they are informal settlements, those are areas which are not zoned for settlement by the municipality because are low-lying areas. As soon as it rains, all those houses get submerged in water. It's low-lying areas. All of them, most of the areas where there is informal settlement. So when people just decide to take their corrugated iron to put up houses, low-lying. And as soon as, if even the smallest rain causes flooding in those areas. So our responsibility as the government is to get land and put people in service sites, properly surveyed. Even if it can rain for a month, there won't be flooding. That's what we are supposed to be doing. And that's exactly what we are doing. So when he says the particular focal for Romy, then I don't know what he's expecting us to do for us to leave people in the informal settlement. We can't do that. We'll have to do everything possible to ensure that we get our people out of informal settlement. And we speak here about 3,000 server sites. Airport van a dorp, baie klein dorp, when I noem dit Pietersburg. And Pietersburg got different after 3 days in a It's a town. You know, 300 sites, that's a town. It's putting up a town. It's a dorp for the opposite. And to get that successful, we move people from informal settlements into there. We are addressing a big problem here in Kimberley. It's a massive problem that we are addressing. And you can't come and tell us the particular Nancy and we are not responding to the demands. Because housing is one of the grievances. It's one of the grievances. We are responding to it. So how we look into this thing, if we are community leaders, we should be solution orientated. If there's an effort to address the problem, let us support the effort. If it's inadequate, there are weaknesses in the effort, point them out and say, but okay, we see, Chief, this is what we are going to do. But we think this is not enough. Why can't we look at this? This is just for 1 year. We are still going to another financial year. And in another financial year, depending on what kind of resources we have, we are not going to stop this program to bring back the spark of the town. We are not going to stop. We are not stopping. Not just the 1 year intervention, but we are going to look at a whole lot of issues that we have to do. But how do we involve then the community? I said, David, when we engage with this question, towards the end of the meeting last time, we engaged on the very same question. Then I said, we need to create a platform where we are going to the ITT will brief and update community leaders on what is happening. ITT will have a work schedule, implement these things, and we need to create a platform where they will go to community leaders and say, this is what we are doing. But part and parcel of that is the work that should be done by ward councillors. But councillors are also supposed to interact with their communities, to interact with their constituents, people that elected them, and brief them on the developments and brief them on what is actually happening. That's what is supposed to happen. But at the heart of this intervention, I think it was raised by Maposa, at the heart of this intervention is the issue of creating jobs. If you implement an infrastructure program, part and parcel of implementation of the infrastructure program is to create job opportunities. That's what we want to do. Basically, we must try to ensure that as we are implementing these projects, they become labor intensive. So that if they are labor intensive, we can take much more younger people on board so that they can get opportunities to work, because we are sitting with major problems in the province, like any other province in the country, with high levels of unemployment, which have been worsened by COVID as well. So we'll have to look into that, but also the issue of subcontracting, which is a very important issue. That we have to, the HOD is here, and these are issues that we'll take them up with the NEC. Local contractors should actually benefit out of this.
Thank you.
Local contractors, they should benefit out of it. I think there's a policy of government that says 30% for subcontracting, isn't it? And we should strictly adhere to that. If there's a big company that gets a project for 50 million rand, 30% thereof has gone to subcontracting. And we must ensure that we get work opportunities with those projects. But these are all questions. These are all questions that we are going to interrogate in this platform I'm talking about, where the ITT, the implementation testing, comes to present the work plan and say, this is our work plan for the following 3 months. I'm certain those work plans should be ready by next week. These are our work plans for the next 3 months. We'll start in Rotterdam. From Rotterdam, one of the issues I told them, we are not going to start in one point. We must start all over the town. We'll start in Rodopan, we'll start in Colville, we'll start in Hadeshi. And then they come give you the work plan. The contractor will be on site, so many people will be appointed, and this 30% of subcontracting. This is how much it is. So that those are the things, they will come and give you the exact details. Because the mistake we can do is to say, we've got 180 million rand to fix road. And we sit here now and say, no, 20 is going to Colville, 20 is going to Greenpoint, and 10 is going in. We can't do that. That is not planning. But we should properly plan and look at the state of roads in each and every area. Possibly Greenpoint will get more, or any other point will get more, depending on the state of the road. We need to fix the inner city. It's difficult to drive here in town. Right here in town. It's difficult to drive here. We need to fix it as well. Because people, when they come to invest, they Kimberley become the face of the province. Let me also explain the issue of the partnership. The only money that we will give to the municipality is money for the fixing of the water and so on, isn't it? That's the money. But all the other monies, we are going to spend them ourselves as provincial government in the ITT. The 180 million rand for fixing of internal roads, it's with us. It's with us. It's not coming to the bank account of the municipality. The issue of ensuring that we get 3,000 service sites, the money is with us. It's not coming to the municipality. But around fixing of your sewer, around fixing of your water bursts and all of those things, because the municipality is the water authority, we can't do that work on behalf of the municipality. The municipality must do the work themselves. But they will do that work within the scope of the ITT. So Julian, I hear you saying this 500,000 does not speak to the needs of the challenges of the people. Unless we're part and parcel of drafting another memorandum. With regard to what we received here, 500 million rand addresses and responds to some of those issues. Responding to the issue of housing, which is a big challenge for this town. Responding to the issue of roads, big challenges in the memorandum. We are responding into the issue of sewer bursts and water bursts. It's in the memorandum. So we are responding to some of the issues which are in the memorandum. But the call which I want to make is that we need to be solution driven. We can't glorify problems. You see, as soon as we get an attitude of glorifying problems, then we'll see the problem. Because glorifying problems create another problem. As soon as we pick up a problem, we must find a way of solving it. Creating partnership, working with other people to look at best possible ways of solving the problem. So that's basically what we are trying to do. And I'm certain greater details around the implementation of the project will be dealt with. When the implementation task team comes to you and says, now we've got our work schedule. The instruction I gave them is that they must turn this town into a construction site. That's the instruction I gave them. And one of the issues that we'll have to work towards, which we might not be able to do this year, is to have our own factory where we produce paving blocks. And we pave each and every street that is here in this town. That's what we are working towards. Put up our own factory, we don't have to go and buy paving blocks anywhere. We do our own, get young people, train them as artisans, put up paving blocks. And we are told that these dams here are right for the making of paving blocks. You add some elements there, and then you can make paving blocks with it. Why can't we put up our own paving block factory? We produce our own, and we pave each and everything called street in Kimberley. So that's basically the things that we are working towards in an attempt to ensure that we are going to address some of these problems. But what we are asking is partnership. If you organize communities and speak on behalf of the community, we are requesting for partnership. Come join us, let's work together, try and solve the problem. There will be weaknesses here and there. There's no perfect solutions for this challenge. There will be weaknesses here and there. That is okay. But all of us must collectively look at how do we address those weaknesses. Than coming here and trying to be smarter than each other, insulting each other, being disrespectful and all of that. That does not help. It won't help anybody. If you are disrespectful to me, I can also be disrespectful, and where does that take us? It just takes us directly to hell. So what we are basically requesting, let's work together and try to address these problems. And there is something which was raised by one comrade here. He raised the issue of electricity. And then I picked it up that in whatever we planned here, there is no electricity. In all of it, if you look in this 500 million intervention, nowhere did we put installation of electricity and electric reticulation and all of that. When I was speaking to the NEC, I was saying to him, he must try so that we get an appointment with ESCOM. So that we can speak with ESCOM, we target all areas which don't have electricity in this town. In this municipality, we move in there and ensure that people have got household electricity. That's what I was actually raising with him. Because in everything that you see, because electricity matters, very important. The issue of water matters, very important. Issue of roads matters, and it's very important. All those issues are covered, but the issue of electricity is not covered. So we'll have to look into that and how best to attend to it. So I don't know whether I've got my colleagues here, they will respond to some of the issues which I could have missed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Yeah, Chair, mine is maybe to respond to one or two of the issues that was raised by members of the community. The one is in terms of Hull Street. I think the one of Hull Street, we've already finalized that one. So the contractor of Hull Street will be on site in the few coming weeks. I think around about May, he will be on site to start with Hull Street. So that one of Hull Street is already finalized. And then also the M12 development. There's outstanding documentation that we were supposed to finalize this afternoon with HDA to make sure that that project can get in as well. So I think we are also dealing with that one. It's not something that will take long for us to start with that project. And then the issue was raised about emergency housing. Emergency housing is the responsibility of the municipality. Municipality apply directly to Human Settlements National in terms of emergency housing to respond to the issue of emergency housing. And then Greenpoint, Nadia, you raised the issue of Greenpoint. There's 50 outstanding foundations that we are going to finalize in this financial year. There was defaults based on the challenges of the contractor and the subcontractor. So I went there myself, you will remember myself and the executive mayor and MEC Lakweni. So I have idea in terms of the issues raised of Greenpoint. So we will make sure that we respond to that as well. And then beneficiary administration, I think it was also raised by you. Beneficiary administration is the responsibility of the municipality. We are not dealing as a department with beneficiary administration. So as soon as the municipality finalizes the processes of beneficiary administration, it becomes easier for us to respond to some of the issues. And then I think there was also an issue raised about the local contractors. We managed to meet with a business forum regarding the very same issue about local contractors. And in that meeting, we agreed to work together to make sure that we prioritize our local contractors so that we don't have a situation where contractors will only be coming from other provinces and our contractors don't get opportunities. But we must also make sure that our contractors have the capacity to respond to some of the projects. Some of the projects are big projects that we have in the province, and you need a certain grading to do the work, because there's certain requirements in terms of the work that we need to do. But I think overall, in terms of the housing matters, we are serious, and the Premier, I think we should really commend the Premier and the provincial government working closely with the municipality to address the needs of the community. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I don't know. This thing is here.
We have agreed that we'll get the response. We are waiting the response. There will be no input in this time from from the floor. The final response.
Yes, I think. Let me use my soft voice, but my soft voice will not be recorded. That's the challenge that we are sitting with. Yes.
Take the podium.
Thanks, Premier and colleagues, and also esteemed members of the community. I think there's just 2-3 issues that I want to respond to in terms of the finance department. I think there was an issue raised. The question was asked: why are we not depositing the money through the municipality? And I think the Premier has responded to it to say that there are certain areas that indeed it will be actually channeled, but the rest of the others will be channeled through the specific department. In this case, we're speaking of the Department of Roads and Public Works, and then also Coxstar as well. Coxstar in terms of housing matters, and then Roads and Public Works in terms of your internal roads and issues that relates to that. And we do that simply because we indicated at first our target and our responsibility was focused in the main on COVID and COVID-related matters in the last financial year. And the Premier is correct, in the beginning of this month, actually the beginning of this financial year, he called us to say, but we'll have to reprioritize and actually see to it that we address the service delivery challenges of our capital city, which is Kimberley. And we do that not only because it's Kimberley, but it's also the gateway to the entire Northern Cape province. If this city doesn't shine, it will be difficult for us to actually get investors to actually make a contribution and investment in the province. And we know with investment, we are talking of the creation of job opportunities in the province. And that is where we are heading to. Job opportunities in itself will then bring an opportunity to alleviate the challenges that we face in our different households, where people are able to get job opportunities. But the issue that I think we must explain, because it creates an impression that as the different departments, there's a mistrust in terms of channeling money to the municipality. Indeed not. Let me explain. All the different departments, they are having their normal program that they have actually adopted for the financial year. They had to, because of this reprioritization, they had to adjust their plans, what we call internally in the department, annual performance plans. And it's actually for accounting purposes. That is why we're actually doing it through the Department of Roads and Public Works and also through the Department of Coxstar. We can also just give a further assurance to the community that in terms of supply chain management processes, that is why Treasury and the team of Treasury forms part of the ITT. It's to ensure that all necessary SCM processes are followed to the letter. Because we do not want to see another PPE process that would be unfolding. Luckily in the Northern Cape, we did not have such a fiasco in terms of that regard. But we have seen it in the social media, and it's in all of our interest to see to it that the SCM processes around this 500 million rand is above board, and we are not found wanting in terms of two things: how the money was spent, but also in terms of the quality of service that actually must actually be seen in our different areas throughout Kimberley. I think the MEC of Costa referred to the issue of local SMMEs that will indeed benefit, and there's no doubt about it. And when we continue in our weekly meetings, we will be able to actually show that particular aspect, and the Premier has been clear on that. So this issue of saying that this does not speak to the challenge of our people, if we address all these issues around internal roads, around sewerage spillage, and the other issues around water leakages and all of those, I can assure you, indeed, the picture will be better in terms of our city, our capital city. And that in itself will attract investment. We have, through the leadership of the Premier, been able as a provincial government to develop a booklet where we will be able to actually go out to investors in the province and even beyond the province and even outside of the country, to actually ask investors to actually come to the Northern Cape and make the Northern Cape their preferred investment province in South Africa. And if we do that, we'll be able to make a dent in terms of unemployment in the province and in Kimberley. So I think I just thought I must just also just add those two issues. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just in addition, I think the municipality also indicated, in addition, Premier, to the 500 billion rand of the provincial government, the municipality will also, in their own program, that are separate from, not separate, but it's their contribution, financial contribution, would be 23 million rand. And they will also be using, actually contributing and ensuring that they address the very same issues that we've actually just mentioned. Thank you, Premier.
Thank you. We have come to the end of today's meeting. We have gotten different inputs, different responses, and I believe from the team side, from government, the conclusion is actually what has been tabled now on the 500 million, because the questions were on the 500 million, and the rejection of the feedback from the mayor. I will give to the community leader to do the way forward from their side.
Thank you, Chair. It's very painful and heartbreaking that while the community want to bind hands with government and its officials that is supposed to serve them, we receive a slap in the face. And it really pains me to table this matter here to the officials as well as the community of the way forward. It failed us that we should sit here today. It failed us as community members that we should be here today, engaging once again in a meeting that is seen as a waste of time, because we have spoken through memorandums to our leaders, our officials as community, and they failed to reach the mandate that they have received, whether it is through politics or whether it is through appointment from the community. It really pains. One aspect that is clear here, and it was not indicated, the 500 million is not a core issue why we are here. And it is clear that the community does not receive platform to take part in it, but are going to be informed of how it is going to be spent. That one is clear. from the community side, councillors does not share interest because the platform that we have taken in was supposed to be theirs. If they really indeed showed interest, they were supposed to be speaking on behalf of the communities. So we move to say we have no confidence in our councillors whatsoever. And this brought to the conclusion in the mandate that we have given, the memorandum that we have given on the 15th, which unfortunately was my birthday, to the Premier and the Mayor, that the mayoral committee must be changed with immediate effect. None of the current members must be retained, both politicians and officials. It means they must be dissolved, because it is clear from what was deliberated here today that they have not fulfilled their task. Hence, the intervention from provincial. We move with the following. We have indicated on many platforms, both media, face-to-face meetings, paper, to all our city officials that is currently here sitting, that our people are suffering, our people are in disaster. 7 weeks living in the condition that they are living in. It's not easy. We are standing here, sitting here as officials, standing here as leaders. We are talking. It's a talk show. No action. Our communities is crying. Myself, I'm pleading for one thing, and it is not happening. I believe in closing and giving this clearly out to the community as well as our officials, that we have no confidence in whatsoever that was discussed here today, because it brings and it bears no fruits, low hanging or high picking. There's nothing here. We want to move and demand from the Premier's office to call on the President, to invite the President to come to Kimberley. We're not inviting him to the Northern Cape. Kimberley has problems now. People are suffering now. We're going to live here, they're still going to suffer. And nothing is happening. Monday was proposals. Today is feedback and conclusions. But our roads have parted ways down with our local government, as well as from the Premier's desk. We have said we're going to take robust action. And this is what we're going to take. Robust action in the sense of we are going to black out Kimberley. Everything inside Kimberley does not go out. From outside of Kimberley does not come in until the following demands is made. That immediate dissolution of the mayoral council and the president have reached Kimberley to come and discuss how this tabled matter of the ITT plays a part for the community. We are here to save Kimberley. We have asked to save Kimberley, but it seems like we're going to lose our city. So immediate blackout is going to take place. The rollout will be taken, and we stand to that. So this is our conclusion, and this is our way forward. Chair, thanks for that.
The way forward from government side has been given. The way forward from the community side has come through. As we had discussed, the points on the agenda have fully been aired. We have come to the end of this meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.
Ja. Kom maar. Wat is The meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everybody that was watching. Everybody heard what was going to happen at the meeting. Everybody knows what's going to happen. Brother?
Was the media locked out? I can't believe it. Our media was locked out. Huh? Our media was locked out. We were supposed to call it. Yes, I. What's the other answer?
Ja, die live streaming door.
Was? Is nou 'n bietjie tyd vir aksie? Ja, hoe maak mens? So maak mens. Can somebody just stop this live, please? I don't know how to. No.
What do you know?